Hello, everyone, and welcome to our StreamYard Live Selling Industry Showcase. As usual, we are so excited to have you all here, and we cannot wait to get started. So just like every other show, we would love for you all to comment where you're tuning in from and where you're streaming from. We love bringing our global community together in events like this. It's such a blast just seeing where everybody is coming from and learning more and more about how you stream. So today in this event, we are hoping to produce content specific to your industry so that we can learn from the professionals and experts on how to best utilize StreamYard with tools, plans, and strategies. Today, we're going to have 4 separate sessions. The first will be how to use StreamYard as a live selling tool. The second is the importance of niche. The third is the power of community. And then finally, we'll have an amazing panel of experts on what is next for live streaming in 2022 in live stream live selling. So we've got an awesome show today. We're so excited to get started. And while our speakers come from different walks of life and professional backgrounds, we believe that their insights would still be valuable to any current and potential live stream sellers who want to offer new experiences to their audience and their clients. After all of our sessions, you're welcome to stay back and network with each other by clicking on the appropriate icons on the left side panel. So, as usual, just a couple of housekeeping options for Hopin. Our closed captioning services are provided by Aberdeen Broadcasting Services, and you can find the link to a separate window below the video. You can choose between English and Spanish closed captioning for today. Our stage chat is to the right of your screen, and if you want to focus on the stage content, you can minimize the whole side section by clicking onto the icon with one vertical line and a small arrow. If you want to participate in a live Q&A throughout the event, please add your questions to our chat so we can bring them up on screen with Hopin Backstage, powered by StreamYard. We love seeing your questions. We learn so much this way. To adjust your volume, you can change the settings either on your computer speaker or at the bottom left corner of the video viewer. If we suddenly freeze on screen, don't panic. Just refresh your browser and come on back in. So let's get started. First, we have Mylon, Chris, and Jim on utilizing StreamYard as a live selling tool.
Hello. I'm Mylon. I'm on the customer support team at StreamYard. And today I'll be talking with Chris and Jim, and as Presley mentioned, on how to use StreamYard as a live selling tool. Now, first I'm going to introduce Chris and Jim. So with a 25-year plus history in the music industry with Sony, driven and passionate entrepreneur Chris Stone founded the podcast and live streaming consultancy Cast Ahead after the success of his own co-hosted podcast changed his life. He's produced videos for keynote speakers like Victor Antonio and Sam Silverstein, remote produced virtual live conferences for corporations, and consulted, developed, and produced hundreds of podcast episodes. He also co-hosts a regular Amazon Live show, Dealcasters Live, with Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing. Now, Jim Fuse is a president of Fusion Marketing and does marketing the Marine Corps way. Jim is a retired Marine lieutenant colonel turned digital marketing consultant, speaker, live streamer, podcaster, remote live stream, and virtual event producer with over 30 years of business and social media experience. So he fuses Marine Corps leadership with next level digital marketing. And his 20 plus year of highly successful leadership experience as a Marine Corps officer lets him bring that to bear in the ever-changing world of marketing and technology. So Jim and Chris collaborate as remote live producers, and they've led, assisted, coordinated production teams with clients such as IBM, StreamYard, United Nations Global Compact, MIT, Toastmasters International, GlaxoSmithKline, Jamaican Chamber of Commerce, and USA Biz Party, which has included speakers such as Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin, Darren LaCroix, and many, many more. So, how did you two find StreamYard?
Well, first of all, Mylan, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much, StreamYard, for giving us this opportunity. And it's funny because I started live streaming in August of 2018 with my friend Tim Sohn. We started the Tim and Jim show, and we were using another product, which will remain nameless. And I was watching a YouTube with a big StreamYard advocate, Ross Brand, and Eileen Smith, and they started talking about this StreamYard product. So we went and checked it out. We actually did a show where we it's like, hey, what do you all think of this? And we fell in love with it. That was February of 2019 and haven't looked back. And so when I met Chris and I knew he was doing stuff, I said, hey, you got to check this out.
Wow. Well, great to hear. And what brought you to live selling?
Yeah, the interesting part of that is that Jim introduced me to StreamYard, and he watched this video from our friend Ross Brand about how to be how to go live on Amazon, and that was a thing where Jim and I had worked together a number of months, became fast friends, and knew we wanted to do a show on StreamYard and utilizing StreamYard and the tools that they had. We couldn't find a way to do it, something that could complement the business that we do. We're always ending up talking about tech when we're dealing with all these entrepreneurs. And once Jim saw that, he just went through the process, and was approved in a matter of minutes because he has more Twitter followers than Russ Johns, believe it or not, who's in the chat. What's up, Russ? And, he got approved and called me and said, hey, we're Amazon influencers. Let's do our show. And then 2 hours later, after this long call, I cobbled together a logo that we both agreed upon, and Dealcasters Live was born on Amazon.
Awesome. It's great to hear that it happened so fast, it seems like. So why StreamYard instead of other products?
Well, StreamYard didn't pay me to say this, but part of it is the three pillars that StreamYard is founded on: ease of use, stream stability, and professional looking streams. And there's a lot of other great products out there, but one of the biggest things that Chris and I, as not only show, people, but also behind the scenes, I need something I can depend on. The last thing you need is for your tech to go bad when you're in the middle of a show. And that's where StreamYard is rock solid. And you've heard the list of people we've worked with, and we've even used Hopin for virtual events. And it's easy, right? I send you a link, you join as a guest. You don't have to do any crazy downloads of your software, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. And as we'll talk about later, we like to break things and play with things. We've come up with other ways to make StreamYard even more powerful for us when we're producing our shows.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mylan, it's really about stability. That's, and I know that's one of the pillars, but anytime you want to buy something from someone, you first got to trust they know what they're talking about, or you got to trust the product that you're purchasing. And StreamYard is like, every time we use it, it's because we can trust that there's nothing that's going to get broke in the background, and we can focus on what we can control and trust that trust that StreamYard is going to handle whatever platform that we're on and whatever client we're working with.
Great. And what tools did you invest in beyond StreamYard? And that can be in different stages of the live stream.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hardware that we use to get to do this, but I think the first and foremost for us, and being on Amazon and being sort of live sellers, and also we use StreamYard to do the recording function, which we use for product videos, which is another conversation as well. But it's a different situation and it's a different mindset. And for those that are watching this and are interested in getting into selling, or maybe you've dabbled a little bit, maybe not on Amazon and on some of these other platforms, the product is the star. And so when we go live, the traffic is really driven because our show is showing up on product pages. And so if someone is there and they're looking at a particular thing for their Sony camera, we have to show that product is the start. We can't just sit here and talk about it. We have to show it. We have to talk. We have to actually use it. And so we're set up here with multiple cameras. And Carly, if you could give me a little bit of a solo look here, I can kind of show you, sort of like I've got an overhead cam. So if we need to focus on a particular product like this, I can talk about it. My face is still on the screen. And so one of the things that we invest in is a virtual camera. And in Mac users, so in this case, we have Ecamm as our virtual camera, but we use StreamYard to power our show onto Amazon and create a RTMP destination in StreamYard that Amazon gives us. So it's really about having some functionality like this, so I can talk about it if I need to demonstrate it. And Jim stays on the screen with me. I'm on here, my face is on here. I'm talking about the product, I'm demonstrating it. And if I need to talk about something that I don't have and I can't do and I can't show, this is another huge investment. And it's actually on sale right now on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, but don't go there yet. Is Stream Deck. And if you don't think you're going to need all 32 buttons, you're probably wrong, because this thing is a great lifesaver for you. As you can see, we have our StreamYard button here that we have all our programmed hotkeys. Thank you very much, StreamYard, for launching that new thing, because that is awesome. And you can, as a remote producer, to switch cameras, to go back and forth into different looks and utilize StreamYard in order to do that is key. But if I had a product that would, like my camera that I'm looking into right now, that's something where I would click another look. And now I've got another camera that is behind me. And so now I can talk about this camera and I can point at it, and I could move this around and talk about my overhead setup and talk about the Ulanzi overhead setup and how this is just my phone and how these lights are set up. And you need 3 points of light. If somebody has any questions related to the light setup, I can bring this down here if I want to talk about my mic, which is the Samsung QTU. It's these kinds of things that if someone's going to ask you a question and you're on Amazon, like they're going to ask a question, and if you don't answer that question, they're gone. And if you're going to help somebody launch a show, if you're going to help somebody launch a podcast, you're going to want to walk them through and teach them things. And if that could mean also you need to use something like, well, let me not put my arm in front of that. If I want to talk about my Stream Deck and I want to circle it on the screen, I've got an iPad over here with a green screen overlay in which I can type whatever I want to type. Or not type, draw whatever I want to draw on the particular screen. It's all about pattern interrupts. And these things that we invest in are not expensive. This is a $60 webcam on a $11 boom arm. This is a $60 mic. The most expensive thing you see in front of me is the camera. It's my main camera, but it's that's an investment that I needed to make. None of these things are super expensive, but they're critical to live stream selling. It's what Jim and I nerd out on for hours to try to understand and to teach people how to do. And with what StreamYard allows us to do is to do this effectively, easily, and to get people moving in the right direction, because there's nothing worse than people getting stuck with tech. And our number one thing is don't fear the gear. And if that helps anybody and they have any questions about any of this stuff, we'd love to answer any and all of those things in the chat. But I could talk about this for hours, Mylan. We want to hear the buttery smooth sounds of Jim Fuse's voice here when we can.
Well, it was really great to hear that, and thank you for actually showing us the specifics behind the scenes. So it sounds like you're taking the time to learn new tools that will take your stream to the next level. And those were mostly during the stream. Did you all have any pre-show or post-show tools that you all use?
Yeah, we do. With pre-show, we use Canva, we use Easel, and sometimes we'll even use Adobe Spark. It really, in fact, Chris does a lot of that, and he will tell you there's not like one ring to rule them all, right? It's mixing them up that really helps you find that right thing. Chris has created some great overlays that, like you said, creates a pattern interrupt, allows us to have even moving, GIFs, overlays where, a lot of people's like, oh, well, it's not in StreamYard. You can make it if you're willing to take the time. And then we'll use Final Cut Pro in post-production to cut up the videos and create, and Chris does a lot of great stuff with intro and outro videos on there as well. Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, one quick thing, Carly, if you could give me full screen, and I'll show you. Jim talked about one of the great functions of StreamYard is you have the ability to add animated GIFs as overlays as well. And so on Amazon, one of the inherent parts of their platform is the fact that everything's muted. And so we're like, well, how do we get people to unmute? You can't tell them to unmute. You have to create something visually with a pattern interrupt. And I'm doing this right now, right? And so that's a pattern interrupt, right? Well, so is this. So we create this, which this basically goes around the play button, and that you can just put right directly into StreamYard. As an overlay, hit the button, and boom, you're off and running. The other thing that we do is we create an overlay. This was built in Canva. I've got my overhead camera on the right. Typically, Jim's here with me. But we don't want any inception. He hasn't joined me on my virtual camera. But you can see right over here is the chat on the event right now. Todd Hartley is telling me I'm crushing it. Thank you, Todd. Okay, so when you're live selling, engage and bring them on the platform. And when somebody follows you, when somebody smashes the follows button, you're shouting them out. You can throw a little sound, little animation. You've got it programmed in your Stream Deck. It's about engagement. It's about, at any point in time, pattern interrupts, and utilizing graphic programs like Easel. We use just beautiful live stream templates on Easel, as well as Canva, and I cobbled together a lot of different things, to be honest, and I obviously love to talk about it. But this is a new thing that we did by pulling in the Amazon chat when we go live, and now we're on the hop-in chat. So everybody chime in right now. Say hi to Mylan. There we go.
Yeah, a lot of collaboration amongst tools, it sounds like. And speaking of collaboration, how do you all diversify your income beyond the actual live session?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for us is we do repurposing. We take these shows, we cut them up using a tool called Lately, and we drive people back to Amazon. We have an Amazon shop. We record product videos, what they call shoppable videos, that we're able to place on YouTube. We've also created a podcast, and in the show notes, we'll have our products as well. And then the other thing is that what's happened is brands are reaching out to us. And because they're seeing our live streams, they're seeing our videos, they're seeing our social posts. Samson reached out to us through LinkedIn because they saw how much we were promoting the Samson Q2U. And so that has been one of the things where brands are saying, hey, will you talk about our product on your show? Will you do videos? And then we, make deals with them. And, we also have worked with Donuts, who does name.com. And we created redirects. We worked with them. We've been working with them for several months. And, and so a lot of it is the repurposing. A lot of it is reaching out. We've done, actually, it's funny. It's probably been more inbound than us going outbound when it comes to that. And, Chris can talk a little bit more about what we do post-event as well to diversify that.
Yeah, one of the wonderful things about StreamYard is that when we're done, like with this broadcast, whoever's in control of this particular StreamYard account can go and download the full HD video, but also the individual audio tracks. And for somebody like myself, who is an audio editor on podcasts as well as a video editor, and not having separate audio tracks can be a nightmare. Somebody coughs while Jim's talking. Oh my God, the buttery smooth sound of Jim Fuse's voice just got ruined, right? But having those individual tracks is huge. But yeah, as soon as we're done, it's game on, because we can take that that video and we pull it down, and I pull it into Dealcaster's World Headquarters Final Cut Pro editing suite, which is basically a laptop, and chop it up. And if we talk about a particular product for 3 minutes and focused on a product, we take that and we parse that up. I put a cover on it and we upload it into Amazon. It becomes a product video on that particular page. So, it's kind of two birds with one stone, and, kind of knocking that out. But then we take that stuff and we do like an interview. We interview people a lot, and we want to keep it somewhat product focused, but at the same time, we got a lot of great interview content that can be great audio podcasts. And that's what we are able to do, is just, take that audio, individual tracks, rip it into it, repurpose that, but take that video. We use lately AI, which is a fantastic program that uses artificial intelligence on your video to create a ton of different social posts for you to choose from when you upload your content to it. And then just schedule it out, making sure that we have the right links in there, because Jim touched on it. For us, you can't, Jim always says, when you look at a link, you lose me at the slash. So as a part of your brand and as a part of our brand, we felt it was important for us to have a Dealcasters.live. And that took someone directly to the spot on Amazon, because Amazon Live is still somewhat of a new thing and people are still sort of discovering it. What? Amazon Live? And then when you tell them to go, it's like, yeah, go to my show at, Amazon./ blah, blah, blah. Like no one's doing that. Right. So we went and bought Dealcasters.live, and we redirect people to our shows, and we can use subdomains. So Mylan, if we had you on the show, we could redirect your show, which is on Amazon, and call it Mylan.dealcasters.live. So if we're in Clubhouse, we're talking on Twitter Spaces, or we're shooting out a link, you see the link, and it's a trustworthy link. It's not Bitly, it's not Rebrandly, it's not something whatever. You know what you're getting when you click on it, and it's absolutely part of our brand.
Wow. You're definitely gonna have to talk about that a little later whenever we get into the panel. But let's jump into some questions from our audience now. So the first question I think we're gonna go with is from Doug. And Chris, can you talk a little bit about your background and lighting setup?
Yes, Doug Lehman, in layman's terms. We appreciate the question. Doug is a fantastic live streamer as well, and a big StreamYard user. So that's awesome. Yeah, my lighting setup, Doug. Let's. It's almost like we're on Amazon right now, right? These are key lights, and a lot of people will buy these key lights. This light right here is a thin light. You can see I'm going to move it, and it's going to change the lighting on my face, right? So this is my third point of light. I bring that down, and you can adjust that to that, because a lot of times your lights that you have behind you could color your face differently, especially if you're a Caucasian person like myself. It's really susceptible to multiple lights that you want to turn on. You want it to look cool behind you, and all of a sudden you look like a carrot on the screen, right? So you want a light above you that you can kind of wash out any of those funky colors that come in when you're changing your lights back here. And these are key lights. You can see right up over here. These key lights are important to make sure you're being flanked by these on either side. This is going to pull out your shadows. These are Viltrox lights that I bought. They're sort of like, a lot of people buy these Elgato key lights. Those are great, but they're also pretty expensive. And so I took a shot on these. I didn't want something that clamped to my desk. I wanted to be able to move it far away. So they're on stands. And I don't have a carousel below me, Doug, so I can't really sell you any of these right now. But if you go to dealcasters.shop, there's a video in there, and then we'll get your affiliate link there. So there you go.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We're running a little short on time, so we're going to save the other questions for the panel. But be sure to learn more from Chris and Jim at dealcasters.university. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you all shortly, actually. Thanks. Now we're going to go to Kelsey, who's going to discuss the importance of niche with Sindal. Go Kelsey.
Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining us at this month's StreamYard Industry Showcase. I'm excited to be talking about the importance of niche in live selling in our segment today. I will be joined by very special guest Cynthia Smith, also known as Sindal. Growing up in Detroit, Michigan, Cyn always stood out with her passion for life, personality, and most importantly, her form of self-expression. If you ask anyone about her, they would say she has a really strong personality. Cyn calls it passion. She views it as an expression of life in a tangible form. Hair was the first art form she fell in love with, and she went all in. Enthusiastically, she easily became the go-to person in her town. It didn't take long. She relished the opportunity to service all of her colleagues and their family while producing extraordinary results at a very young age, 18 to be exact. This was the beginning of a long-term desire to not only service clients, but to become a master stylist, and she did just that. After 13 years in the hair industry, Cyn accomplished all her goals in the industry except one, freedom. Cyn needed to express herself in all forms, living in her true passion, which is teaching. As of today, Cyn Smith is a master cosmetologist, herbalist, life and business coach, blogger, YouTuber, and the list goes on. Sovereignty is the name of the game, and control over one's life is the key. Cyn lives out loud, inspiring you to find your own light while becoming the best version of yourself. Let's jump right in. Hi, Cyn.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm so excited to talk to you today because you have such an awesome story to tell. You have amazing experience, and what you do on with your channel online and your niche is really exciting. I think you have a lot to offer our audience today. So thanks again for being here.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really excited to share how you can expand, because most people are stuck in a box. So I'm really passionate about helping people get out of a box.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with, how did you find StreamYard?
Oh, that's actually a funny story, because I started doing streaming, and at first I was using another streaming service that I won't say, and even though it was okay, I am used to working with my hands, right, doing hair, and talking is not really my thing because I'm an introvert. So when it came to like selling on Amazon or just doing live broadcasts in general, I needed some type of platform where I could prepare the content ahead of time and then just play it, so I don't have to, talk live.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I think I was on YouTube searching, and StreamYard popped up. And I remember I went live for the first time with my old clips, like a bunch of older clips that I had promoting certain hair products. And it was so easy. I was just able to take all of these 60-second clips that I had from Instagram and repurpose them and sell products. It was so easy. And I fell in love.
That is. So is that what you mostly utilize StreamYard for now? Or do you use it mostly for pre-recorded live videos, or do you also come on and speak live in the moment too?
At the beginning, it was just for pre-recorded lives, but then once I got on Amazon, then things changed a little bit, and I was able to mix it up and do live content where I would mainly do like the intro on there, kind of sort of, and then I would be able to have all of my other video content, which made it a lot easier for me because I do so many other things. So StreamYard makes it so it's almost on autopilot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the ease of use is really, that's what I love about StreamYard so much. It's just so easy to navigate.
Yes.
So do you use any other tools for live streaming beyond StreamYard? I know you mentioned Amazon, so you're an Amazon live seller, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was using Zoom for a second. But recently I've switched over because the only reason I was still using it was for my one-on-one coaching. But recently I found a way, well, I'm not going to say found a way, I found the time to sit down and make a full course template. For example, I will go on Canva, and for the most part, they would have a form that they would fill out before the appointment so I can have as much information as possible. And then I could go on Canva, make a template for them. So I just look so professional, you know?
Yeah. Do you use Canva for your live stream, like graphic design as well, like overlays and stuff like that?
Oh my God. Yeah. That's the only thing I use is Canva. It's like perfect.
That is perfect. Okay, so I want to jump into more about your content. So you are really focused on hair products, and you have such a broad and extensive hair expertise. You've really become a subject matter expert. So how did you come up with that idea to like have hair be your online niche, if you will?
Well, I'm a licensed cosmetologist, right? So most of the time when you see somebody that does hair, all you know is like hairstylist, but you have a hairstylist that is only licensed to do hair, and then you have a cosmetologist that's licensed to do everything from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. So I fell in love with the science of hair, right? And mainly in my niche, most women are really confused, regardless of race, really confused on what products to use, because people think that hair products are like one size fits all, and it's not. We have different levels of porosity, density. I won't turn into a nerd on you, but you know, it just made it easier for me to be able to present the science to people, because people have a really short attention span, right? Is it 5 or 8 seconds? So StreamYard makes it so I can just put in their face the exact information that they want. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to watch. So my niche, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's all about hair products, but hair science and teaching people a routine and a pattern that they can follow through life. And then StreamYard helps, you know, with Amazon, because with Amazon Live, then I can give them the tools that they need to apply the things that I teach them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about the attention span, right? That's so hard to keep people's attention. Yes. But StreamYard does make it a little easier because there's a lot of visual dynamic elements that you can utilize, you know, the banners and the graphics and logos and all of that.
And without I don't mean it disrespectful to anyone, but you know, a lot of times we in our mind, even if we're like in our 50s or in our 60s, we still need like lights and glitter and sparkle. So StreamYard makes it easy for me to customize things based on what audience I'm speaking to on a specific platform.
Sure. So then, Sin, in terms of content planning, right, for your channel, what is your main strategy for creating that content?
So that's changed a little bit over the years. Now I'm at a place of just doing what feels good in a moment with it making sense to my niche, because the word niche is something that I used to love, but in reality it's something that's very, very, very crippling. Because you get stuck in that. And I mean, we can talk about that later, but that's something that you get stuck in. So now it's mainly just putting all of the pieces to our everyday life together. So not just my hair, but also like home care and stuff like that, different things that I can do to incorporate every aspect of my life. So I don't have to just pick Sin, the hairstylist. I can be Sin, the mother, you know, Sin, the herbalist, just different aspects.
That's very interesting. So I'm curious, when you first started out and you were creating your content on your channel, was your strategy different in terms of creating and planning out your content?
Oh, absolutely. That's such a good question. And I'm embarrassed to answer it because there was no strategy at the beginning. At the beginning, it just kind of happened. You know, I was a cosmetologist by trade, and that's it. And then I think Instagram was the only thing that was out, and I would record like 60-second clips. And one day I just put my camera up and then I recorded the entire service, started uploading to YouTube. And then I remember maybe like 6 months into, I was like, I can make $1,000 just uploading videos. So it kind of happened by mistake. And then once I hit 100K, I got tired. That's why I said picking a niche is like one of the worst things you can do, because I got tired of creating that type of content and I wanted to do something different, but I was stuck creating that type of content. So a program like, StreamYard makes it so I could break up the pieces of my content, because at the beginning there was no strategy. I had to kind of make up one as I went along.
So, okay, I'm so intrigued. It sounds like when you first started out, right, the niche, having that expertise and creating the very specific type of content really helped you grow your channel far and fast.
Yes.
But then you mentioned, okay, you got to 100K, you've been creating all this content, it's all very specific, and you got tired. Yes. So that's such an interesting thing to talk about, because the niche was so important for you in the beginning, right?
Yes.
But then you got to a point where you wanted to break out of that. So talk to us about that point where you were feeling tired. You were like, I'm not sure, I feel like I'm in this box. How did you break out of that or move beyond that in terms of your content and your channel?
Oh man. Well, with that, I'm sure you guys know all about the algorithm, right? So whenever I really, really got tired, I want to say views were at like, and this is YouTube I'm talking about, views were like maybe the first I'll say 72 hours, I would have a video up and it will have at least like a minimum of 70K, right? But then if I went to do a video, let's say of me cleaning my brushes or cleaning my tools, people were like, girl, no. And at least that's what I thought. But it was actually the algorithm, because there's a computer operating everything now. But at that time, I had just completely like, I'm done doing hair. And so I had to actually diversify my platform. So before I was only on YouTube, that was it. But then I had to get on my website, on Instagram, on like just every piece of content, because in reality, Google owns a lot of the platforms that we use. So I dove deep into like learning Google Analytics and just learning how all of these platforms work in conjunction with Google and search engines, and really understanding that when it comes to selling, when it comes to views, building, it has nothing to do with me. Like I could look at something and be like, this is good, this is great, I'm smart, and this looks good. But people are like, no, I don't care. That's not what I'm searching for. So I had to learn how to put myself in the position of my consumer or of the people that were watching me, and just completely take everything else that I had before out of my mind, because we get in the mentality of like, we have to do this one thing forever. Right. But I ended up just spreading myself really like amongst every platform that resonated with me. It was hard though.
Yeah, it sounds hard. So did you like in that process where you were creating different types of videos and noticing that, your views were lower, your interactions were lower, did you just sort of, along with your research, just keep making different content and keep posting it? Like, did you just power through, or how did you deal with all of that?
Well, and I'm going to be really honest. Initially, at first it was kind of sort of heartbreaking, because it's a really big jump. Like, just imagine, especially with analytics and AdSense and the way that it works, to go from like 50,000-60,000 views in 72 hours to a video getting 2,000 views in 2 months. But it was at the beginning, when I felt like it was only happening to me, it was a little hard, but I just kept producing the type of content that I wanted, because what ends up happening, you have to retrain the algorithm, because you're literally dealing with a computer.
Right.
So I had to retrain the algorithm and get a brand new audience, which is really hard when you've already worked to get, I want to say it was like, I was at like 150,000 subscribers when I switched everything over. So diversifying my content, it was hard at the beginning, but just for me, because in your mind, you're so focused on vanity metrics, like how many people are watching, how many people are seeing this, where in reality, at the very beginning, the majority of the people that were watching, they were just watching. They weren't really active.
Sure.
You know, so over time, I learned how to just keep putting all of my eggs in different baskets, because as a cosmetologist, it was in one basket, just YouTube and just doing hair.
This is so inspiring what you're saying, because I think for a lot of content creators, right, we all hear it's really important to have a niche, right? Like choose your thing. So people are like, okay, great. I have something I'm interested in. Like with you, it was hair and cosmetology. You do that, you know, it grows really big, and then you get tired. I mean, I experienced that. I had a live stream that was, you know, a much lower stakes, but it was specific on acting and the performance industry, because that's what I love. And I was doing a very specific sort of interview style show for a few months, and then I got burnt out. And it was really hard for me to think about, like, okay, where do I go from here? Like, how do I, you know, I've built a following for this specific, you know, content. And so for me, I let it go. And I think that that's sad for a lot of content creators who get to that point, get tired, don't want to keep creating that niche. But then you're saying, you know, you just kept at it. You were like, no, I am a content creator. I'm just going to change the type of content. And I'm not going to give up. And so
because
you just did that.
I think that even just the fact that I'm having a conversation with you right now is such a great example of that, because you guys found me after my views declined. Right. So most of the time you're just so focused on like views and vanity metrics and how many followers and subscribers you have. I'll try to not say this person's name, but he's a really big person on YouTube. And I remember recently he made it to 1 million subscribers, right? But with the analytics and the way things are going, sometimes I have more views than him. He has a video that's been up for like 2 weeks and it has like 5,000 views with 1 million subscribers.
Right.
So that's why I feel like something like StreamYard, and StreamYard's not paying me to say this, but I just feel like something like StreamYard is so amazing, because if you have, because I have 2 children and a husband. So if you have a life, it's so easy. It makes it so easy for you to take one piece of content, and I can, with StreamYard, I can put it everywhere at one time with one click.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. StreamYard really allows you to get the broadest reach with the least amount of effort.
Without picking a niche. If there's nothing else that anybody says, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, if I could do everything all over again from the beginning, the one thing that I would do is not have a niche. At the same time that I was making hair videos, I would have been doing vlogs and all of these different things, because when you think about it, it's almost even worse than being stuck in a regular 9-to-5 job, because you're stuck in your own mind with your own creativity and you can't do anything outside of that.
So you're saying, like, take what you're passionate about and broaden that concept. So broaden it to not just, you know, hairstyling vids, but also, you know, more science-based vids, more, you know, the brush cleaning that you mentioned, more.
I tell all of my students to, whenever you are coming up with not even your niche, but what your channel is going to be about, your platform, I tell them to get a list, just to get a notebook and write down all of the things in life that they love, not just things that make them money, but the things in life that they love, and then figure out how they can make all of these things match together to come up with a business content. Because one day you wake up and you may want to do podcasting, but another day you wake up and you may want to make waffles, you know, and you may want to record it. So if you were to just start off and say, hey, I'm Sendal, just Sendal, not Sendal the cosmetologist, then people won't connect that in their mind to you.
Right. Oh, that is so we are changing the definition of a niche right now.
Please. Oh my
Come
God.
at it. The
Please.
niche is not just one thing. It's
No.
everything that makes you as a content creator light up.
Yes.
Ooh, I have chills from that. I think
because if you think about it,
helpful.
content creator creating content around you and everything that makes you, because at the end of the day, you're the person you're the only one with these fingerprints. So let's see what all your fingerprints are about.
Right. Oh my gosh. This has been such an awesome session. Unfortunately, we reached the end of our time. You and I feel like, Sin, we could keep talking for hours probably. But thank you again for joining me today and sharing your expertise. I think that this session was really helpful. I know I took a lot away from it, and I'm hoping the audience did too. So for anyone listening, please go to Sin's website. You can learn more about her and all of the content that she creates, www.sinsmith.guru. And thank you again, Sin. I'm so thankful to have had you here today.
I'm thankful for being here.
Awesome. So next up, we have a session on the power of community with Katie and Vicky. Now, unfortunately, the two of them are not able to join us live today, but we have utilized a StreamYard feature to play their session pre-recorded. So enjoy, and on to the next. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next segment of the summit today. So our segment right now is called The Power of Community. And I am joined by two very special guests, Katie and Vicky. Katie and Vicky met at eBay Open 2017, where Katie received the eBay Shine Award and Vicky was making her presence known as a leader in the community with her signature pink hair. Soon after, they launched their YouTube channel, where they weekly teach other sellers how to grow and succeed in their businesses. Vicky's been selling on eBay for over 20 years, specializing in vintage clothing and hard goods, whereas Katie has been selling for over 15 years full-time as of 2016, her current focus being men's vintage streetwear. Combined, Vicky and Katie grossed over $300,000 in 2020 across 7 different platforms. So let's welcome Vicky and Katie to the stream. Hello, hello. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. Hello.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for inviting us.
I'm super excited about this session because what you two do is very unique. Now, I know there's live stream selling is pretty widespread and it's a growing industry, but specifically the both of you, I'm really excited to talk about your niche today and sort of your approach to live stream selling. So let's just start off with why did you two start live streaming in the first place?
Well, we use our YouTube channel to teach other sellers in the community. We're very community oriented. We each have our own separate businesses. We are a couple, but we have our separate businesses. But we have nonprofit backgrounds. So we're really passionate about giving back in some way. Mm-hmm. And so we actually use live streaming as a way to connect with the community. And to be honest, because we're so focused and busy with our own businesses, doing pre-recorded, videos is just too time consuming. And so we found that live streaming is the best way to do it because it helps us to stay connected, but do it in a time that works for us.
Yeah, editing videos is very time consuming, right? And we call ourselves the lazy YouTubers. We want to not deal with the editing aspect because it's a time suck. But more importantly, we do it because we like to connect in person with our audience as much as possible virtually. And live streaming allows us to do that. We have, the live chat and the live streaming allows us to connect with people in a job, in a position that is very isolating. Right. Selling online and working for yourself, you can spend an awful lot of time home alone. You can go days without seeing the outside world or talking to other human beings. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that sell online for a variety of reasons because they may or may not be able to function in a 9-to-5 job because of health reasons or childcare or elder care, psychological or physical reasons, whatever. So they may even be more isolated. So this helps to break the isolation, not just for us, but also for a lot of other people and helps us build community through getting rid of the isolation part.
Totally. It's an instant interaction and feedback and being able to have actual conversations with people.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is what a power intro right there. So I'm wondering, how did the two of you find out about StreamYard? Like, what was your journey into bringing your live streams on StreamYard?
Well, I guess it was like a couple of years ago, when everybody was using, was it Google Hangouts, or a lot of people were using Google Hangouts in order to do live streaming on YouTube. And so I know for us, I think they had said it was going away, like, I don't know, probably like a year before it actually happened. And I wanted to keep using the same platform I'd been using because I was comfortable with it. I'm the tech person of this team.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not me.
So like, I think I waited till like the very last, like, I don't know, a couple of days before it was going to be gone forever. And I kind of frantically was looking everywhere to figure out what kind of program I could use in order to do the live streaming. And it just turned out that StreamYard was the most accessible and intuitive. And so it just made the most sense. And to be honest, just about everyone else that we know that's kind of in the same sort of niche and doing these kind of live streaming stuff on YouTube, a lot of them use StreamYard. And so it really does seem like it's kind of at the top of the game.
Yeah, it's the most user-friendly.
Yes, totally. I was just going to say, a lot of our like OG StreamYard users, like people who have been with us since close to the beginning, many of them came from Google Hangouts. And it was sort of a similar, I've heard this story where they're like, we liked Google Hangouts, but like we were forced to find something else and we sort of fell into StreamYard.
Well, and it's so much better. It's like
so better.
All of the different little things that are just built in that are automated. It makes it look so professional, but it's super easy to use. So it's pretty cool.
Being able to highlight people's comments and questions and change your backgrounds and brands and insert your own personality into the live stream is something you couldn't do with Google Hangouts. As easy as it was to use, this is a much better platform.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And I agree as well. Okay, you use StreamYard as your live stream tool. Do you use any tools beyond StreamYard or in conjunction with StreamYard for your live streams, and why or why not?
I mean, I would say, like Vicky said, we're like the lazy YouTubers. So as little as possible that we can do beforehand to make it happen, the better. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff like I'll do some like graphic design and stuff like that for overlays very rarely, but for the most part, it's all kind of built into the program and it's not really that necessary. We don't really feel like we need a lot of like a super high production value, lots of images and things. It's really about, I guess, the relationships that we're building with the people that we're interacting with. And so I personally don't feel like it's necessary, but it's kind of a feel that.
Yeah, I mean, other than obviously using live, StreamYard in conjunction with YouTube, that's pretty much it for us. I mean, we don't feel the need to add any superfluous stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's the cool thing about StreamYard. And I honestly very much understand where you're coming from with that. Like, you're just like, yeah, I use StreamYard and that's all I need. I'm very much the same way. Like when I found StreamYard, now obviously I work for StreamYard, but I was so excited by how easy it was and how, even though it's such a simple product, right? Like ease of use is one of our pillars. It also covers so many bases that you don't always need other tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your channel is really unique. And this session is all about the power of community, and your channel is really focused on connecting with your audience and growing your audience, connecting with fellow live sellers and resellers. How did you come up with that idea for your channel, and why do you think that angle is important?
Like I was saying earlier, we both have nonprofit backgrounds and we are very passionate about giving back to the world, I guess, in general. And so, but also when I came into doing this work, it was kind of accidentally. It's like I really love it and I'm passionate about it, but to be honest, like I'm just basically doing retail, right? I have a lot of fun doing it, but it's like I need something more that fulfills me, and I think we're both on the same page around that. And so for us, it's like we're not really looking to do YouTube to make a bunch of money because we have jobs,
right?
So it's more important that we're actually helping other people.
Right. We're not using YouTube as a revenue building stream ourselves. While that's a perfectly relevant line of work, and there's a lot of work involved in it. And there are a lot of resellers that do it and do it very well. We have what we call the baby audience, with 10 to 12,000 people. That's not that big in the world of resellers or YouTubers. But for us, our audience is very dedicated, and they count on us. They count on us to have our live shows at a specific time every week. When we don't have a show, they miss us. When we say that, okay, we're on vacation this week, we're really not going to do a live show, they're like, oh, what am I going to do with my Sunday afternoon now?
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that they count on us for like appointment time, live TV.
Yeah.
And it's fun. We have a lot of fun building the audience, but we also really like to help people. And while our platform may be small, like I said, it's a loyal audience, and we have the ability to help people elevate their businesses without charging money for it. We don't charge money for what we teach. We freely give our knowledge and information to help others, because we feel that elevating and teaching other resellers how to be better sellers elevates the platform for everyone, whether you're a buyer or another seller.
Mm-hmm.
So we try very hard to make it worthwhile for other people.
Well, and the reality is, we don't look at each other as competition, even though we're all kind of competitors. Technically, it's like we look at each other as coworkers. And so we do really firmly believe that the better everyone else is, the better we are. And, with that said, Vicky said that we don't use YouTube as a revenue stream, but the reality is it kind of happens naturally anyway, because we're building these relationships, and we're building on it. We had just had an event a little over a month ago, an in-person event here in Vegas. And we did charge for that because we had to obviously cover the costs and stuff like that. And we did make a little bit of money off of it, and which is fair for the time that we put into it. And we do see that that's going to be building in the future year over year. But that started on a foundation of us building relationships over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
So even though we didn't launch into it thinking about, how much money are we going to be able to make, we can build it into a business that's going to bring in revenue for us.
Right.
And that's so amazing to hear. I think that loyalty piece really says it all. The way that you're focused on, first and foremost, connecting with your audience, and not even necessarily building the biggest audience possible, right? Like, I think that's a trap that a lot of content creators can fall into, where it's just like, I have to get the most amount of followers possible, otherwise I'm not relevant, or my content isn't good enough, or I won't make enough money, etc. But I love the approach that you two have, which is more, how can we create quality relationships and sustained viewership, right? So it's not about necessarily building the numbers to the highest point, but it's more like, for the people who are drawn to what we do and do want to join our community, how do we make them feel valued and seen and loved, in that way? Yeah. And then hearing about your in-person event, like, that is so awesome as well. I don't think a lot of virtual businesses have been able to move things in person yet. So it's so cool that you did that. Can you tell us a little more about what that event entailed, and sort of like how long it was, how many people came, like what was that like for you guys?
So sure, we live in Las Vegas, right outside of Las Vegas, so it's a destination for a lot of people anyway. So that does help.
Sure.
We had one of the first reselling, if not the first reselling event in person in the last couple of years, at least. So we had close to 300 people fly in from all over the country, and a couple of people from Canada even. And it was a 3-day teaching event. And we had a facility, a space that we rented, and we had lots of other YouTubers and sellers as well come in and teach about their specific niches. So we had an audience of 250 people. And then we had, vendors come in. We had vendor space set up and sponsors. And we had panelists that did something similar to this, speak in segments and teach for 3 days. And it's basically a conference, a business conference, but for resellers.
Yep. Because there's other conferences, like you said in our intro, that we met at eBay Open, and eBay Open is a reseller event, but it's eBay. So it's very much centered on that platform. And so this was unique in that it was a seller-led event that it didn't really specifically cater to any particular platform. And we kind of covered all kinds of things, from taxes to hiring people to sourcing better, to building a social media presence, because things are definitely moving in the direction of social selling and live selling that we're talking about today.
Right. Wow, that's very, very cool.
We had a lot of people, a lot of interest, and we also added a lot of fun aspects around it. We had a big party with a red carpet the last night, and we had a lot of fun, and people were kind of starved for in-person connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been a while since we've been able to do it, and it was very well received.
So looking ahead to close us out for today, how do you see this community helping each other in the long run? Like what do you see as the future of your online community?
Well, we're talking about live selling. I think that kind of proves, when you see how the market's moving in that direction, it proves how much people care about connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just stick to going to static sites and just, you order something, you go check out and you're done.
Right.
People want a different level. They want something different to it. And it has to do with connecting with the people that they're buying from. It has to do with your personality, how they mesh with you, what it is about you that drives them and makes them go, oh, I want to buy from them.
Yeah. And so I want to support this small business. Does this business or these people, showcase the type of things that I believe in or that I feel is important. And I think that in the world of sustainability and online selling, and especially used items online selling, people want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from these big superstores as much anymore. And they want to try to support the small business owners, whether those are, women-led businesses or businesses owned by people of color or, the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
There are people that specifically will seek out businesses to support within those demographics that matter to them.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's fabulous. So this went by way too fast, but thank you so much for being here, and thank you, audience, for tuning in to the summit and for being here as well. If you would like to subscribe and find Katie and Vicky online, you can find them on YouTube and Instagram at Boss Reseller Remix. So go ahead and look them up, subscribe, follow, do your thing. And thank you both, Katie and Vicky, for joining us today. We've learned so much from you two. And we'll see you in the next session.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for Katie and Vicky from that session, please feel free to email us at marketing@streamyard.com, and we will follow up with them to get their answers. Next up, Dana will join all of our speakers in a panel discussion on what's next for live stream selling in 2022.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Kelsey, for that great segment. I would like to welcome all of our guest speakers back up to the stage. Hey, Sin. Hey, Jim.
Hi.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us back for our live Q&A segment. So if you're watching us live and if you've been here for Sin's segment and Chris and Jim's segment, please ask all of your questions in the chat starting now. So let's jump right in. Based on your experience in this live selling space, what do you think is going to happen here in 2022?
I'll start if it's okay. I think a couple of things. First of all, in China, they call them key opinion leaders. They don't call them influencers. And one of the fascinating things, there was an article on CNBC in November. There was a 29-year-old live streamer named Austin Lee, and he set a record last month by selling the equivalent of 1.8 billion, I said billion with a B, of lipstick in a single 12.5-hour live stream.
No way.
Yeah.
Billion with a B.
Billion with a B. And he was using Alibaba. So it's been going on in Asia for a while. And so, Amazon sees where this is going. We've seen on YouTube, they just did some stuff. Actually, it was before Black Friday, which I thought was a little odd, where they had some of their big YouTubers were doing shopping, and they even set up a special YouTube/shopping. And so I see the other platforms attempting to replicate what Amazon is doing. I potentially see, the Walmarts and the Targets and some of the big boxes saying, hey, we need to get our own influencers. So I think that the space is going to continue to be there for people to have opportunities. And so I think it's just going to continue to grow. I mean, I think, and Chris and I have we don't know, but we're like, there's maybe 1,000 to 2,000 Amazon influencers, and they're not all live streaming, right? They're just maybe doing product videos, and they're not going live. So there's a lot of opportunities for growth in the space.
Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would just say that, I think more and more people are trusting some of these platforms they didn't trust before. And they're following, influencers like Sin and saying, and if she's recommending something or she uses something, people are like, and how it's purchased or how it gets to your doorstep kind of doesn't matter. I think there's a level of trust in Amazon. Obviously, a lot of people are, have Prime accounts and probably use it more than they should. But I think, Instagram, right now, Twitter is testing the waters and using Walmart to do fulfillment. And so there's a lot of these. It's happening. It's going to take a while, I think, for a number of the big boxes, like Jim mentioned, Target, Costco. It's likely that all that's happening. But Amazon started this in 2017 with their own influencers. They had their own people. They would just go live on certain holidays. And so when they opened this thing up a year and a half ago to influencers, I don't think anybody expected it to be as impactful as it has been. So you can definitely bet that there's going to be other people that are going to see that, and they're going to want to kind of follow suit and maybe learn from some of Amazon's mistakes.
Got it. I didn't know it was that new, and that they've been actually testing it quite a while before they even launched it to the rest of us, the Amazon influencers. So it seems like Amazon is the leader right now in the social selling space. Do you think it's going to be any different next year?
I do, because I remember when I first started in the hair industry 14 years ago, originally we used to have to compete with celebrities, right? When it came to brands and things like that. And it would be really hard, because how do you compete with Beyonce? But now, now brands, and I'm talking like big brands, they rather use someone like me who has a smaller audience than Beyonce's, because I'm more relatable to them. So if I can figure out how to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but for lack of a better word, I'll use that word, manipulate, the algorithm, and use certain platforms like StreamYard, it makes it easier for me to put myself in a position to be more attractive to brands, because people are not really impressed or buying that big celebrities are using these actual products. So I think that as we go along, it's just going to get better and better, because all of these brands are in competition with each other, all of them. Like Instagram steals from everyone, and now everyone is really, really looking at Amazon as a place like, all right, we have to do live selling, because Instagram has a market now. Facebook has a market, Twitter has, everyone has a market. So I feel like at this point, this is just the very, very beginning. And I feel like everyone that's in StreamYard now, or that's in this space right now, taking advantage, these are the ones that will have the B behind, the amount, the billions, because you're here on the entry floor level.
Ooh, I love it. And we're all, our audience gets to learn from you three who are already in, you've gotten, now you're on Amazon, you've been there, done that. So it's great that we get to learn from you. We have a really great question from Nate along the same lines. Nate Powell says, how do you recommend selling live using StreamYard without going to Amazon?
Well, I think,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's about trusting your fulfillment. So, if you own the items that you're talking about, and it's just a matter of like, whatever you've got in your garage or your storage facility, and you have some sort of way to facilitate that, that's all well and good. But, one of the reasons why we went live on Amazon is our collective business. We always end up talking to people about tech, and we always end up, trying to send them the little affiliate link, right? And hoping and praying that maybe they buy something with that. And when you go live on a massive platform like that, it's like taking that affiliate link and just it's on steroids times 1,000. When you go live, you're in the mall, and it makes things really quick and easy. But like, some of these platforms they're going to go live, they may not have a way to do fulfillment. And so if you're going live using StreamYard, you can go and go virtually anywhere. Instagram doesn't allow us to do that yet, but I hear it's coming. And you can and you could try to sell whatever you want to sell and put an affiliate link in there. But if you go on a live selling platform, it is far different because you're there and people are ready to purchase something. And I think Sin made a fantastic point. And that is, if you're already a celebrity, by the way, Sin, you're a celebrity to me. Okay. Just so you know. Okay. Just so you know.
Yeah. I followed your page.
Yes, exactly. And so
don't make me blush. I don't have on my glasses.
Right. So if Beyonce gets up and she's talking about something for her hair, I think people would look at that and go, is she just getting paid like lots? Of course she's getting paid lots of money. Of course. Right. But when you're someone like us, and Jim and I, from the very start, we said, we're going to be approached by brands. We're already getting approached by brands. We will not sort of talk about something and endorse something or whatever unless we truly believe in it. And that's, we're at that point where we can do that. And we turn down more brands than accept, because we just are like, this is not something I would use. So why would I tell somebody else that they should? And so that's really, it's so important, I think, as a live seller, like your brand, the brand that is Dealcaster, they want to be able to trust it. And so when I say to Doug Lehman, hey, I really like these lights, you should get them, so that Doug trusts that, like, I have these things, I use these things every single day. And that was just a really great point. I just wanted to reiterate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think Katie and Vicky also kind of touched on the trust that you build.
Yes.
Like you're saying, it's so important to build that trust with your community, and you can almost out influence, Beyonce with her, little bit less maybe relatable recommendations, but you're building so much trust with your community because you're relatable, you're accessible. And I think that's such an important point.
Yeah. I wanted to add something if I could too, real quick. What a lot of people don't realize too is the number one product search engine is not Google, it's Amazon. And so Amazon has this huge advantage over all these other social media platforms that are attempting to become live selling platforms, and that people go to Amazon because they also, and it was brought up earlier, right? People have Prime, they shop with it. They can easily return the item, no questions asked. I mean, you can even go to Whole Foods or Kohl's and just bring the item in, and you don't even have to put it back in a box. That is the challenge for people that are going to attempt to sell on other platforms. And then the other piece is, how are you going to be able to track your sales? And so like for Nate, he might need to set up Shopify as part of his live selling experience, because otherwise, how is he going to capture the customer data, fulfill the order? And so that's why, like Chris said, for us, it was just easier. We even have been able to create our own merch. We have shirts, we have sweatshirts on Amazon, print on demand. So we don't even have to worry about, like, oh, well, we got to get an inventory of the right kind of shirts. It's made when people order it. And so I think you're going to see more of that, where people want to sell their own branded merchandise. And what's the easiest way, because you as the seller want to focus on selling and not on the logistics, because that's a whole nother ball of wax.
That's a whole other business.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Sin, I'm curious, you talked a little bit about how you think the future of live selling's going, but how can live stream sellers better prepare for this next, wave of what the future holds?
I think that the number one thing that everyone should do is study the market. And what I mean by study the market is really, really look at patterns and routines. Because if we look back at the patterns and routines from like 2 or 3 years ago, we could all see this coming right now. But the main issue that everyone has is everyone's trying to recreate what's already done. And in my opinion, by the time something's mainstream, by the time it's in your face, it's already old, because it takes a while to be able to create something. So for me, I'm one of the only people in my niche that is even using StreamYard, because there are not a whole lot of people talking about Amazon Live. Like for me, I haven't met anyone else in my niche who does Amazon Live, who talks about Amazon Live at all. So in my opinion, I don't find a problem with like people taking classes and things like that. But for me, every class that you take, you should pull out, the different aspects that jump out to you, that touch on your niche, or not niche, but on your passions and the things that you really, really know about, and then keep moving in that direction, because everyone is trying to produce the same thing. Something that you guys said, for me, I'm really more so into like drop shipping and print on demand, because I did the first thing, following fads. Like, okay, I'm going to start my own product line. But then as you grow big, you have to do the shipping and the packaging and everything. So I think that everyone should get out of the space of trying to be like the next Gucci. And if everyone could get into the space of just understanding, like, okay, what if I just have my set few products that I love? For example, with hair products, for me, I picked 5, right? Because you'll wake up every Sunday and there's a new product line, because everyone's starting a new one. So if I have my top 5 and then I rotate those out maybe like once every couple of months, then I have a full schedule, for lack of a better way to say it, a whole schedule that I can follow quarterly or month to month, just so I can have an actual pattern and routine. So I would say just really, really study the industry and people that know what they're doing. Like you two, you're like, you follow me. I'm like, what? Because I want to follow you. I'm so impressed by the way that you guys run your tech and the way that you do everything on StreamYard, because I work with my hands. So I've never been into learning the logistics. So that would be number one for me, for everybody to get out of their head and out of competing with what they already see, and search the market and find the missing spots. I always tell my students to look in the comments on YouTube or Instagram or whatever social media platform you're on, and what questions are people not answering, or what problems does everyone have, and be that solution. Like, find the missing link and be that missing link, instead of us having all of these carbon copies of each other.
Yes, I love
God,
that.
that's so good. That's
Chris
so
is clapping,
good.
and I totally agree. And we talk about that all the time here at StreamYard. Even like, it's so important to listen to our customers on what features you're wanting us to build, because you're the people who are using the StreamYard platform, and I think it goes the same way. Chris and Jim, do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of content creator 101. It's not about you; it's about them. And so, and that's a lot of what Sin's talking about. And once you get out of your head, then you're moving and you're doing a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. But I think the only way you got to do it is to, at some point, you've got to hit that button. You've got to hit that big red button and go live, and then go live again, and then go live again. It's about, if you're waiting for Target to because you just love Target and they're so on brand with what you're doing, and that's going to be my show. You're going to, like Sin said, you're waiting and not going live. You've got to do the reps. Jim and I, when we went live for the first time, and here's a little behind the scenes, We went live for the first time on Amazon Live, and we just dialed up 1080p on StreamYard because it's like, yeah, they did, now we can go and full, 1080p. And we didn't realize that you can only go live at 720 on Amazon. And we didn't know that. And we had a really big guest, Jennifer Watson from the Weather Channel was our guest. And we were doing a show on weather prep and weathering the storm. We were like ready. She sat in the green room for 45 minutes until Jim and I figured that out. Thank God she did that, because she was just such a pro and did that. But like, we wouldn't have learned that. I mean, those are things you got to do. You got to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and get better and get better. Go back and look at, an old show and, look at our first time that we ever went live. It was pretty much a train wreck, and so you don't get to the point of sin by waiting. You get there by doing. And so if you want to learn how to live sell, start selling. If you got a YouTube channel, you can sell. You can put your affiliate links in there. Be an affiliate for things that you would not believe how many companies have affiliate programs, and companies that you love and products that you trust and use every day have affiliate programs. Start making YouTube videos, start going live, start recording them in StreamYard, and start selling stuff. And it'll help you make a little money while you sleep. And then when things launch for you, you have this tribe of people that will follow you up a hill and buy the stuff that you truly recommend and believe in.
Right. And a couple other things in preparing for the future is, one of the things you have to realize, like, I know there's a lot of people that, it's like, oh, I'm on TikTok or I'm doing YouTube shorts. Well, when you come over to Amazon and do a live stream, and Sin knows this as well, they want you to go live for half an hour or more. So if you're used to just doing this 60-second, oh, I'm going to be a lot of fun. Well, now all of a sudden you got to have a conversation. And if you're not used to talking to yourself for 30 minutes, that's why I like having a co-host with Chris. You got to hope that the audience is interacting with you in the chat, because if they're not, it can be a very lonely place.
Right.
So you need to think about, if you run a show, you need to think about, like, I now have a Sony ZV-E10 camera. I didn't start out with that. I started out with the C920, went to the Logitech StreamCam. So advance your tech as you can afford it.
Yes.
There's so many people that are like, oh, I got to go spend $10,000, set up this massive studio. And then they go live a few times and they're not seeing the results. It doesn't happen overnight. It's literally a journey. How can you sharpen the saw? I mean, I joined Toastmasters a couple years ago because I wanted to become a better speaker, a better presenter, learning things like how you actually pause when you speak so that you don't do lots of ums and ahs, or you find out that you have these crutch words that you use. And as much as people will say, oh, well, I want to be real. Well, when you're real, you want to sharpen the saw. You want to get better, because that's how you're going to get those brands approaching you, because they say, these people are professional, they're sharp, they look good on camera. They're not going to work with people that are a train wreck. And that's why Sin, I'm sure, has been successful, because you look at her, she looks amazing and she looks like a pro. So why wouldn't you want to work with her?
She does. I agree.
Oh, stop it. Thanks.
So we have another great question, speaking of listening to our audience, from Patty Lang. She says she sells antique and vintage items. How can I repurpose a live stream to be beneficial? Chris and Jim,
okay, I'll jump in. Repurposing is kind of my jam. So yeah, listen, that's one of the greatest things I think in StreamYard. It's like, you can go live in eight places, but you can go live in one that you want to focus, and then you could also hit record if you want to just hit record and do videos as well, and use it as your recording software, and still utilize all the tools that you have in there. But I think what we like to do, if we are going to record in StreamYard and use it and repurpose it, and it's either from a live stream or a pre-record, we try to keep it as clean as possible and then do stuff in post. I think specific to selling antique and vintage items, If you do a live stream and you're talking about that, you have a recording of that live stream, and maybe maybe it's 45-minute long live stream, but really there's this portion where you're talking about a specific product that is 10 minutes. But of that 10 minutes, you could take that and parse that up. And this is what we do is if we talk about a particular product, we're going to use something that's more appropriate for TikTok. Maybe something's more appropriate for Pinterest. Maybe something's more appropriate for Instagram. Maybe that's appropriate for all of those platforms. But you can take it and create a video from that live stream. You could pull the audio out. I don't know, Patty, maybe you want to do an antique podcast, an audio podcast. You can do that on StreamYard. You just download the individual tracks, and all of a sudden you've got a really cool podcast as well about it. It's not going to be visual, but those are just a couple of ways to repurpose the content. And I'm sure I'm missing some as well, Jim, but I mean, that's what I would give you, Patty.
Well, yeah. And I think, Chris, we've seen that, right? By taking that content, and it doesn't matter what product or service even that it is, you find those nuggets, you share them out on your socials. It could be an Instagram story. It could be a tweet of a 2-minute clip of the video, and take people back to the full blown, original interview, or even tell them at what point, YouTube now has chapters, all these different things that because people aren't always going to watch the whole show. Right. But by taking that, sharing it, you can even do things like, take those clips, maybe you send them out in an email newsletter. If you have an email list, that's what's going to catch people's attention. What are those golden moments, so to speak, that are going to attract people to what you're doing? Because, sometimes there's dead air, and you don't want them to see that. They'll lose interest. Your nugget might have been at 25 minutes, but they left at 15. So you got to look at that too. Analyze, if you're doing the lives, when are people dropping off?
Yep. I would say too, to add to that, for your with you selling, of course, you have a website, and on most platforms, I know for my website, when you add a picture, there's also a space for you to add like a small video clip. Human attention span, 5 to 8 seconds. So, but if you can capture, I always pay attention to my live streams, and I'll go and look back in the comments at the moment that I get the most engagement. Most likely that means that was the portion that people like the most for whatever reason. So like, take a very, very small clip of that product and I add it to my website. So you swipe over and people see the photos, but most people know about drop shipping now and how people get products from overseas. So if you can have a portion, a small little clip on your website with them actually seeing the product, like how you at the beginning of you guys' section, how you had the keyboard. I wanted to buy that keyboard, but something like that where you can have like a small little section on your website, I think that's a really good way to repurpose the content, and it'll be like that last little thing to make them click and make a purchase.
Yes. And I love that you listen to the audience once again. Like when was there the most comments, or when was there the most engagement throughout the live stream show? And that's the moment,
that's something that I had to learn even with YouTube and, with engagement, when the algorithm took over, learning that I'm now talking to a computer on every platform. You're talking to a computer, and the computer's like main objective is to give the customer what they want, not you. The computer doesn't really care about us that much. So the computer is worried about the consumer. So we have to be worried about the consumer. What are they paying attention to? And how can I trigger you? Whether it's vanity metrics, like with me looking pretty in the thing that I'm selling, whatever it is, like just to trigger some type of emotion in your customer. I know that sounds kind of manipulative, but
Dana, she brought up something that I think we haven't touched on this entire event, that I think is critical if you're a content creator and you're doing live selling wherever, if it's on whatever platform, it doesn't matter what platform it is that we as content creators, if you're live selling on Amazon or you're live selling on TikTok or whatever, you're on rented land. Okay. And so here we are as influencers here, Jim and Chris is Dealcasters and Sin, and everyone has their own brand. But first thing that she said was she talked about her website. Okay. And so this is something that is land that you own, and these places that you can control. We can control what we do to a degree on these platforms. But if we don't follow certain things, we can't say certain things, we can't talk, and so, well, eventually, Amazon could snap their fingers and this whole thing goes away. You have to build off of the rented land. You have to protect yourself, continue to brand yourself. And I think that was something I don't know if it's been covered yet today, but I thought it was really great that you brought that up.
Yep, that's a great point, Chris.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go, Sin.
For me, I can't believe that I didn't bring that up, like even in my segment, because one of the things that lit a fire under me to get to YouTube in general, before I wasn't even on YouTube, I was just Instagram, 60-second videos. That was my jam. And then out of nowhere, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this one great big hacker and hacked over 5 million Instagram pages and sold their information. Well, guess who was one of those pages that got hacked? Me. So at 145,000 followers on Instagram, I'm sitting there one day about to post a post and Instagram gone, like nothing I could do about it. So now I'm at 0 following. Mind you, this is after like a 10-year career of building. It was devastating, right? But thank God I had a website. So with my website, I was able to push people to my YouTube channel, which at the time I only had about 4,000 subscribers. And within, I'm going to say a year, but it's like a little bit over 11 months, not quite a year. I was able to get from 5,000 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. But that was literally only because, that was literally only because I had some point of like some type of seed, because like you said, we do not own these platforms, and at any second they can push a button, which they have. They can push a button and just decide that, okay, we don't really want your content out here like that. That's why, in my opinion, you building your own brand and having your own website and having your own email list is land that you own, because you don't have that type of authority. So starting different types of membership sites and selling courses and ebooks and things of that nature is so great to do, because you do not own this land. And Amazon Live is great for that, because to me, they've been doing their research and they know that influencers or content creators are dealing with this issue. And one thing that got me was they're like, you just create the content, we'll push it out there. Don't worry about it.
Nice. Yep. But still rented land, right?
Rented land.
It is. And we've seen people that have been kicked off of Amazon. And the problem there is, and going back to Chris's comment about following the rules, there's no shortcuts. I don't care what platform it is. And if you try to take shortcuts and get caught, you're gone, and there's no recourse. You can't go, well, I'm going to sue Amazon because they kicked me off. Do you think, one, can you afford a lawyer that's going to be able to get you back on there?
No, you can't.
And you can't, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. And I think it's so important to Sin's point, right? Where are you going to be? I mean, even with regular live streaming, how many times have we seen, even was it 2 days ago, Amazon was having problems, right?
Yeah.
And their web services were affecting other platforms. We've seen Facebook go down. We've seen every platform has gone down.
Yep.
And if that's where all your eggs are, what are you going to do? So you got to be prepared to shift and diversify. And I love the ideas that Sin has, right? It's the email list, it's other streams of income, that diversification beyond what you're doing.
And I think it may seem so scary for the people who are just starting out, like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? I got to set up a whole live streaming platform on my own website. Like, no. I think what you're trying to say is, like, you can slowly build this, starting today. Encourage people to go to your website, encourage people to sign up for your email list. Like, it doesn't have to be this overwhelming thing of, oh, now I can't stream on social media anymore.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I want to
could
switch
say it
gears
really
just a
fast.
bit. Pardon, Sin?
No, I was just saying you could just plug it in really fast. Like, hey, follow me over here. It's easy.
Exactly. Like at the end of this live stream show. So I want to switch gears a bit and switch back to tech. So Chris and Jim, you talked a lot in your segment about your specific tech. We actually have a question from Nate here. And Nate says, how are we able to show the questions and comments in the StreamYard live stream broadcast window, but not necessarily just the comments on screen? He's asking, Chris, how did you show the comments, like the whole entire comment section from Hopin on screen?
So this is what Nate's talking about here. This is why we use the virtual cam. And so if you're a Mac user, eCam is what we use for a virtual camera. There's other virtual cameras out there. Is one. So if you're a PC user, ManyCam, thank you, Jim. And so right now, what I've done is I've created layers with the eCam software in this case, and I've got my camera here, my main camera here, and then typically Jim would join me on this side, but we're live on StreamYard, so we can't really do that right now. Thank you. And so this overlay that has our logo and has this over here to my that you see on the right hand side is a transparent cutout. It created all of this in Canva. And so I basically designed it in Canva with a couple of squares, just kind of, I had a vision for how I wanted this to look. So Jim and I could be on the screen. We can encourage people to follow. And then as the chat shows up. And so we wanted to, this is a pattern interrupt for us. When we're between products, we'll pop into here. We'll answer people's questions. We'll encourage people to follow us. We'll give somebody a shout out. It's a way to not only just engage, and there's an Amazon chat, but this is also just another way to have people feel like they're a part of your show. And as they ask questions, I can look down and see what they're asking. And Clementia's asking us if we remember the Facebook/Instagram 6-hour blackout. I don't. I don't know. But
because we were on Twitter.
In any event, I hope that helps and answers your question. But I mean, I literally created this in Canva. I'm happy to send it to someone if they want to steal it. I mean, listen. I mean, this idea. I think I was watching a Kirk Nugent stream, and he had something very similar to this, where he was pulling in a chat and he had a guest, and I was like, listen, some of the best ideas are, quote unquote, stolen. You just have to make them your own, right? And this isn't the exact, maybe layout. You want to eventually kind of do that. So I'm happy to send this. Whoever wants it can email me at chris@dealcasters.live, and I'll send you the file, or maybe we can make it available to whomever.
And just so people know, that chat is a screen share, is what he's doing in. He's able to lay that out, and he resized it so that the chat is there.
Got it. So normally you do that with the Amazon chat. You screen share that.
Yes.
Got
exactly.
it. Okay.
Exactly. And all of that runs from the Stream Deck. And I think Sin mentioned that earlier. So it all runs from this thing that you see right here. I program everything into scenes. And so that way, like I just push this button and it gave me that scene, but if I want to go back to my main look, I could just hit this button. A Stream Deck is a content creator's best friend, because you just set up your entire run show right along the top of this. And so if Jim and I don't have a product on hand, we can actually set it up to where it plays a video in between us while we talk on either side, because Jim is using this Focusrite interface, and he can't really talk into a mic on his computer and be able to do that. So we flank a video on either side. And all of this is, we're using StreamYard to power this, but we do use a virtual camera to pull in this stuff as overlays. So I don't know. I hope that helps you.
That is so cool. That was actually our next question.
Yeah, and I do this too, right? If you want to, so like I've got this programmed as well. So I've still got my camera here. This is an iPhone on an Arkin overhead mount that allows me. I could even put an iPad up here. It's a really great piece of gear, and so I can sit there talking to you about this is a Samson Q2U microphone, and I press the Stream Deck button to do that. And then if I want to go back and focus on the product itself, and then I can say this is what it looks like, and you can see how by having a higher end camera, it focused on the bottom of that, and then I go back to me. And so these are the things that we're using StreamYard. We're just, so even when it's a, Jim and Chris and a guest like we had Junaid on, we're using that virtual camera to allow us to do other things even when we have a guest. But the beauty is we can bring a guest in through StreamYard, and depending on if they even have virtual cameras, we can do the same thing. And so it's just about, you got to take that risk. You can practice. That's the beauty, right? In StreamYard, you can do record only, practice and record only mode, and get your tech right so that once you go live, you've got all the kinks worked out.
That is so cool. And that was actually our next question. How do you go through all the different angles so efficiently, so smoothly? And I think you answered that right off the bat, Chris, with the Stream Deck. Jim, do you have a Stream Deck too?
I do. We both have a Stream Deck. I'll tell people up front, right? If you got to not have coffee at Starbucks for 2 weeks to go from the 16 to the 32 button Stream Deck, it's worth it, because what'll happen, I think I saw someone in the comments earlier, like, oh, I wish I'd gotten the bigger one. And you're going to find that there's definitely uses for all those buttons, even as StreamYard starts rolling out more hotkeys for what you can do with a Stream Deck, that's going to have some advantages as well. And it's a great tool. It definitely makes things easier, because now it's like I'm not having to look down, right? I mean, I've got it right here. Right. And it's just by pressing a button, boom, I switch my view, boom, I switch back, and it just makes things. And you can have multiple scenes. So we have other scenes that we're not, like when Chris pressed a button and then he's writing on his iPad, that's a scene. It's already programmed.
Yeah.
And
that is too cool.
I'm getting one as soon as we get off of here. Like, people are gonna think I'm so fancy. They're not even gonna know, especially if they're not here right now.
Right. Well, it's sort of like, like this thing that I just used. First of all, Junaid Ahmed, who had that comment, he's being very humble, but that gentleman, we've had him on a couple of our shows. He's home studio mastery. He's taught us a ton. I don't think enough people talk about how live streaming is a great way to network. To have full, like this is how we've met great people like Junaid and others that have been in the stream today. That Eileen and all of these people. This is how you meet. This is a great way to network. And have each other on your shows and learn. We learn more, like the show, like no one sees it, because we'll end the show and then Junaid taught us how to do what you just see right here, which is me writing on the screen. He taught us how to do that with an iPad, and we got it. We wouldn't let him go, and we're like, we have to figure out how to do that, because you don't want to overuse something like that, because then it just becomes annoying, right? So I probably was annoying on our first couple of live streams when Junaid taught us how to do that. But it's an effective way to like, if you want somebody to follow you, and then you, instead of telling them, if you go to the upper, or the lower whatever corner, you can just go, make sure there's a button right down there.
Yes.
And so if you hit this, it looks like this with a plus sign on it. That's what we want. And so when you do something like that, boom, and it's more pattern interrupt, and I think a more efficient for people to do.
That is so cool.
And it looks more personal. I found that at the beginning, you just think you have to spend all of this money on all of these graphics. And I found that one day where I really didn't feel like it, and I just did like kind of basic stuff, is when I got the most engagement, because people want to buy from people that look like them, not necessarily visually, but like that they can relate to, that's relatable. They don't want to feel like you're some far off, distant like star. And that was amazing.
Right. Relatable. Back to being relatable with your audience. Yes.
I love it. We have heard so many tidbits, tips, and tricks to become experts on live stream selling. Sin, Chris, Jim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We've reached the end of our Q&A. If our viewers, followers, audience members want to learn more about you, where can they go?
For me, it will be my website, www.sinsmith.guru. And there I house everything. Everything that I do is going to be on my website, and everything's really easy to understand. So if you want to get in contact with me, that's a really good place to do it.
And Chris is showing off the tech.
I'm getting one, like when we get done.
Dealcasters.contact.
Beautiful.
And that gets you to everything you need. If you want to follow us on Pinterest, it's there. If you want to do the TikTok, it's there. If you want to call us, it's there. Like that's it. Dealcasters.contact. One spot.
Ooh, that makes it easy.
I love it.
Thank you for joining us today. We have learned so much from you, Chris. And that is it for our panel discussion. And we will be moving into our closing remarks next. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow. Hey there. What an awesome show.
I know. They are experts.
Yeah, seriously. I learned so much. I'm about to start another business.
I know. Sin's like, I'm getting a stream deck, and I'm like, same. Me
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Well, let's bring up our giveaway. We actually have a live we're doing a live giveaway, but we actually had a live Q&A question about our giveaway tool. So as we bring our giveaway tool up on screen, we can answer this question from Manu. Manu, thanks for tuning in. For the StreamYard giveaway tool, you're on the StreamYard account with RTMP or from the StreamYard hop-in integration. Does it work too? Great question. And the answer is it works for both. So right now we're on the hop-in StreamYard integration. So we just have to go to studio.streamyard.com/giveaway. Whereas if you're just using your StreamYard account, you can go to streamyard.com/giveaway. So let me back it up. Presley, do you want to explain our giveaway tool today?
Yes. So everybody in the comments can comment hashtag SY showcase as our keyword. I know. And we will be doing our little giveaway tool. So what we're going to be winning today is a StreamYard merch pack, which includes a water bottle and some stickers, a plush, and one of these hoodies, I believe, that I am wearing today. So make sure to start commenting. And as we go, we will try to find our winner, but we'll give ourselves a couple minutes here for everybody to make their comment.
And just a reminder, as we're waiting for some more comments to come in, you can use this giveaway tool too. If you want to go to streamyard.com/giveaway, this is part of your StreamYard account. You can use it on StreamYard, you can use it on Hopin, wherever you're streaming to.
Yes, such a good tool for engagement and such a good incentive for people to keep watching your shows and figure out if they can win the giveaway next week. It's so much fun.
Clementa says, not the huge mug. We're not winning that today. Chris was showing it off earlier.
Right. It's a great mug. You get a lot of diversity of beverages with that one.
And soup.
The water bottle is pretty new though, so that's pretty exciting.
Yep. Yeah, that's a brand new merch item we just added to the store, I think a couple weeks ago, maybe 1 week ago.
Yeah, it's fun.
And also one more housekeeping item for today. We will be emailing you the recording later this week, tomorrow, probably by the latest. So if you want to invite people to our event, if you want to invite them to be watching the recording, just look out for that email from us. And you can forward it to all your friends and colleagues. But I think we're ready to run our giveaway.
Here we go.
We need our drum roll.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
All right, George. Congratulations.
Congrats, George. You just won yourself a merch pack. So just reach out to us at marketing@streamyard.com. and we will get that shipped to you. Yay!
Woohoo!
Let's run one more.
One more winner.
Are we ready?
Here we go.
Alberto! Woohoo! You just won yourself at our second merch pack giveaway. Just email us at marketing@streamyard.com. Just send us your mailing address and we will get that shipped to you. And Naya, thank you so much for the compliment. Naya says it's great that StreamYard hosts this industry showcase. It's a lot to learn and great learning from everyone. I so agree, but thank you so much for that feedback.
So much fun.
Yeah. Well, I think we made it to the end of our show.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been such a blast. I hope that everybody's notebooks are absolutely full, and we can't wait for the next one in 2022. How exciting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. And if you want to stick around after the show, all of us will be, and hopefully our guest speakers today will be hanging out in the Hop-In networking section, so you can network with each one of us after the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.